16 bombs brewed inside one tiny Montana shack, a hand-built cabin, ground zero of America's longest mail bomb hunt. Inside, there was no electricity to light the night, no running water to ease daily chores, just the stark reality of isolation. A life stripped bare, reduced to its essentials. But within this rustic dwelling, a brilliant but deeply disturbed mind was at work, consumed by a growing resentment towards the modern world. It was here, in this secluded sanctuary, that he was forging bombs, meticulously crafting devices that would soon terrorize America for nearly 2 decades. From 1978 to 1995, the Unabomber embarked on a campaign of terror, mailing 16 deadly devices through the postal system, each package a potential instrument of death. His actions resulted in unspeakable tragedy, killing 3 innocent people and injuring 23 others, leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. He deliberately targeted professors at universities, airline executives who represented the advancement of technology, and individuals in office buildings, symbols of modern society. The FBI launched a massive manhunt, one of the most extensive and expensive investigations in its history, but it yielded nothing but fear and frustration. The bomber remained a faceless threat, an enigma shrouded in mystery, known only by the chilling moniker, UNABOM. The cabin, a symbol of solitude and self-reliance, hid a dark secret. A personal war waged against the perceived evils of modern technology and its relentless march forward. It serves as a stark reminder of how one person's rage, fueled by a twisted ideology, can cast a long and terrifying shadow over society. This is the story of the Unabomber, the man behind the mask, his twisted ideas, and the tiny wooden box where terror was conceived and ultimately unleashed upon the world. Before the bombs, there was Ted Kaczynski, a child prodigy, Harvard at 16, doctor of philosophy and mathematics, and the youngest professor at Berkeley. But Kaczynski was painfully isolated, unable to connect with others, and suffocated by the modern world. In 1969, he abandoned academia for a solitary life in Montana, building his own cabin and rejecting society, immersed in anti-technology philosophy. His resentment grew into obsession. The same intellect that once solved complex equations now engineered untraceable bombs. Kaczynski saw himself as a lone revolutionary, waging war on a world he believed technology was destroying. The reclusive genius became America's most wanted domestic terrorist. The Unabomber's reign of terror began with a seemingly innocuous package sent to Northwestern University in 1978. This marked the start of a long and frightening chapter in American history. This initial act of violence launched a campaign of escalating violence that would grip the nation in fear for nearly 2 decades. The bombings became increasingly sophisticated and brazen. Over 17 long years, he meticulously crafted and sent 16 bombs through the U.S. Postal Service, each one a calculated act of terror. His targets were carefully chosen, representing symbols of technological progress and modern society, which he vehemently opposed. Universities, centers of learning and innovation, were frequently targeted. Airlines, representing the ease of modern travel, and computer stores, purveyors of the technology he despised, also became targets. With each passing year, his devices grew deadlier and more sophisticated, reflecting a chilling evolution in his methods. The violence escalated to the point of killing 3 innocent people, including the owner of a computer store, who unknowingly opened a package containing death. Another victim was an advertising executive, a symbol of the modern consumer culture he so loathed. Beyond the fatalities, many more were injured, some severely, leaving lasting physical and emotional scars. The FBI launched a massive investigation, one of the largest and most expensive in its history, but it was largely stymied by his meticulous and careful methods. He left virtually no trace evidence behind, no fingerprints, no DNA. Investigators were left with only cryptic clues, like the initials FC, believed to stand for Freedom Club, offering little to go on. Then, in 1995, Kaczynski sent a sprawling 35,000-word manifesto to several major media outlets. He demanded its publication, promising to end his bombing campaign if his anti-technology treatise was printed for the world to see. This document became known as the Unabomber manifesto. It was a dense and rambling anti-technology screed, filled with rage against the modern world. Ironically, this very manifesto, intended to spread his message, would ultimately become the key to his capture and the end of his reign of terror. The nation's fear had reached a fever pitch, with people afraid to open packages and suspicious of anything out of the ordinary. But unbeknownst to the public, the end of this terrifying chapter was finally near. Publishing the manifesto was a gamble, but it paid off. David Kaczynski, Ted's brother, recognized the writing and alerted the FBI, providing old letters for comparison. Linguistic analysis confirmed the match. After years of searching, the ghost had a name. In April 1996, agents surrounded the Montana cabin and arrested Ted Kaczynski without resistance. Inside, they found bomb-making tools, journals, and a completed device.
I was with another agent, Pat Webb. Pat was an explosives agent. So we kind of opened the door just a bit to the cabin. And as we opened the door, we were both pretty much overcome. As we looked across the cabin at the shelves that were built on the other side of the door, we could see coffee cans and bottles and jars, and they all had labels on them, and they were very meticulously done. And we could see that some were labeled with the name of certain chemicals. One of the things we saw was a hooded sweatshirt, that was hanging up there, and the cabin smelled as if you might start to think, if you really think about this. This is a person who lived in this cabin, had a cutaway spot in the floor to go to the bathroom in if he needed to, and had built fires in the cabin. There was an old potbelly stove in there, so the smell of smoke was in everything.
Irrefutable evidence of his crimes. The tiny cabin was a terrorist's workshop, a physical map of a mind consumed by hatred. The hunt was finally over. Kaczynski was ultimately sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, a stark end to a campaign of terror. But his crude, hand-built cabin, a symbol of his isolation and rage, became a haunting artifact. Carefully preserved and displayed as a chilling warning in museums, a testament to the destructive potential of ideology. It also serves as a case study at FBI headquarters, a constant reminder of the challenges posed by domestic terrorism. The Unabomber case taught law enforcement invaluable lessons about the difficulty of tracking lone wolves operating outside traditional networks. It also highlighted the power of forensic linguistics in identifying perpetrators through their unique writing styles. The initial breakthrough in the case came not from sophisticated technology or advanced surveillance, but from a brother's agonizing decision and ultimate courage to speak up, recognizing the dark truth within his own family. The Unabomber's story remains a chilling cautionary tale, demonstrating how extreme isolation can breed radicalization and extremism, fueling dangerous ideologies, and how unchecked grievances, left to fester in the darkness, can ultimately erupt into senseless violence and destruction. The cabin, now a museum piece, stands as a stark and unsettling reminder of the profound darkness that can take root and grow in the fertile ground of solitude and alienation. It urges us, as a society, to remain vigilant, to be observant and recognize potential warning signs in those around us, and to never underestimate, not for a moment, the devastating impact of a single determined mind fueled by a dangerous ideology. The long shadow cast by that simple wooden box continues to linger, a painful but vital lesson about the fragility of society and the ever-present threat of extremism, a lesson we simply cannot afford to forget.